At the conclusion of our gospel passage today from St. Luke chapter 16, verses 1 through 13, Jesus clearly speaks imperatively that no servant can serve both two masters. He will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and mammon. So before each one of us, there is a choice to be made. Which master shall we serve, God or mammon? Now, when you translate mammon from the Greek, it's either money or worldly possessions. So this is a fundamental decision that stands before each and every Christian in the world today. Ultimately, the master whom we decide to serve will determine the way in which we see the world and carry out our actions. What Jesus is teaching us today is very important. In the 7 years I spent in the seminary, each year we had a special spiritual exercise by one of the saints. And one of them that was dear to me was St. Ignatius of Loyola. He offered a meditation that's called the Spiritual Exercises that provides a helpful illustration on how to gauge our stance in our spiritual journey, to gauge which master was going to hold our heart and our lives. So about halfway through his spiritual exercises, St. Ignatius invites us to enter into what's called the meditation of the two standards. In this meditation, there are two forces or two masters that are competing for our minds, our hearts, our souls, and our lives. It's Jesus Christ and Satan. They are both vying for our attention and our fidelity. While Satan presents to us the allure of wealth, worldly possessions, and power, Jesus Christ presents to us the way of spiritual poverty and humility. Under the tutelage of Satan, who represents the spirit of the world, we are led to believe that material possessions are the end-all, be-all to our life. Everything else is for the sake of accumulating more wealth, more possessions, and more power. If we give our hearts over to Jesus Christ, however, we are given a different life-giving perspective. When Jesus is the master of our lives, we come to the realization that everything we have is a gift. All the goods that we have, either material or spiritual, become reason for our gratitude rather than our greed. It is then that we can use these goods that we have received from above to the glory of God and to help our fellow humans. It's then that we become trustworthy servants and stewards of the wealth that has been given to us by God to help others. We might think that about Christ's mission statement at the beginning of St. Luke's Gospel in chapter 4, where Jesus said that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me to bring glad tidings to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to captives and recovery of sight to the blind. So when Jesus is our master, he frees us and he recovers our sight. Once we give ourselves over to Jesus as our only master, we are free from sin's mastery over us, and our vision is open to him. Wealth and the goods of creation lose their domineering force on us, and we can use them as means of generosity and to build up the kingdom of God. The Master, Jesus Christ, invites us to take our stance under his standard, to choose the freedom of the children of God. So, my dear brothers and sisters, let us choose Christ as our only master and direct our wealth and our possessions not for our own ends, but for the glory of God the Father.